Ladies and gentlemen, let me start this video by saying this. I am not accusing anyone of anything. This is just a disclaimer. But I have a question. I have a question that has been on my mind for a couple of months. And with what happened yesterday, we gotta talk about this. What's up with Japan? Why do fighters keep on dying in Japan? On every boxing card in Japan, a fighter either goes in a coma or either dies. I mean, what is going on? In the last 24 hours, 2 Japanese boxers died who fought on the same card last week. Let me just say the names of the 2 boxers, just so that I don't get the names wrong. The first, and both are 28 years old. 2 young, ambitious boxers died on the same night from separate bouts. One suffered a draw and one suffered a knockout loss. Both of them died. The first one's name is Shigetoshi Kotari and Hiromasa Yurakawa. First of all, rest in peace, condolences to both of their families, but this is a very, very dark thing that's happening in Japan, and there needs to be an investigation. And let me tell you why. This is actually very upsetting when you actually think about it. I'm actually scared to watch any Japanese fights anymore. I'm genuinely scared because I don't want to see anyone pass away on live television. I'm just going to be honest. What can we say about the situation, ladies and gentlemen? I believe if you actually look at both men, their opponents, this is just an opinion. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying my opinion. I believe that, look at their opponents' physiques. They both look like they're on PEDs. This is firstly. Secondly, to support my claim, there's no drug testing in Japan. Brian Norman Jr., the welterweight champion of the world, just fought Jin Sasaki last month in Japan. And there was no drug testing leading up to the fight. They only tested them on fight week once. And if you actually look at Jin Sasaki, the way that he fought like he was on crack. He fought like a man who was drugged up. He fought like a man with stimulants in his system. I'm just going to be honest. The man kept getting dropped and he kept getting up like a zombie. And if you look at his skin, the man has acne all over his skin. I'm not accusing anyone, but my personal opinion, they're all on something. They're all on something, and not just that. Something needs to happen, and the commission in Japan need to be investigated. Now I know that the very famous and well-renowned Mr. Honda is the one responsible for all these events, and I have nothing but respect for Mr. Honda. The man is an absolute legend in the MMA world and in the boxing world. The man is an icon. But what is going on? Something very bad, something very dark is going on in Japan, and we need to start asking questions. We need to start demanding for an investigation, a federal investigation, to be conducted, because this is not right. I mean, let me just remember the name of the gentleman, because it's very hard to memorize their names. This gentleman, Shigetoshi Kotari, the man who went on to have a draw before he passed away. Look at his opponent. I mean, I'm going to be honest. The people of Japan, they don't have the best genetics. Let's be honest. They are not the best when it comes to having great genetics. They're all short, they're all small, they're all skinny. They're all like small men. Let's be honest. But if you look at the man's legs, veins popping out of everywhere, veins popping out of his abs, veins popping out of his traps. What is going on? Something very dark and strange is happening in Japan, and we need answers, because this can't keep on going. I am scared. I am absolutely terrified to watch Japanese cards in Japan, because Because they're either going to hurt someone or they're either going to get hurt. Like look at the Brian Norman fight. Brian Norman, I am 100% sure that the man is a clean athlete. But the way that Jin Sasaki was fighting, the only way to describe it is kamikaze style. The man was fighting to either kill or die. Just to put it mildly. The man was fighting to take Brian's head off, and the man's fighting was fighting in a way that you can very well take his head off. No defense, just white stance, unloading with power shots, kept on getting dropped, kept on getting up, smiling like a madman. And this is very dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. This is very dangerous, and this is very alarming, and this is very upsetting. And this leaves a horrible mark on the sport of boxing. And like I said, I love the Japanese people. I love their culture. I love the country of Japan. I love everything that the Japanese fighters stand for. They live by the sword, die by the sword attitude. But this is not right. This is not right. This is wrong, and this is dark. And if you actually think about it, on nearly every single card that happens in Japan, someone either passes away a couple of days later, or someone suffers a brain bleed, Now, like I said, there are a few factors. First thing is no drug testing. Second thing is they're probably all on something. My opinion, again. This is my opinion. And more than that, the coaches, they don't teach good defense in Japan. I mean, the only great fighter that we have seen in Japan in the last few years is Naoya Inoue, who trains in Japan. And Nakatani is also unbelievable, but Nakatani doesn't train in Japan. Nakatani trains in California. So let's see what happens in the next couple of days. But something needs to happen, because if this keeps on going on, I mean, I'm speechless. I'm absolutely terrified of what's happening, and this is very bad for Japan. Even though, like I said, I'll say it again. If you look at the country of Japan, their culture, their people, everything about them is incredible. But just when we're talking about the sport and what's going on now, you can't tell me and you can't convince me that nothing shady is going on, that nothing dark and sinister is happening in Japan. And I believe the biggest problem is people being on PEDs and the commission not testing for PEDs. What? Brian Norman came out and said, his dad came out and said that he was tested only once. And Brian Norman Jr. and his dad both insinuated that Jin Sasaki was without a doubt on something. And that is enough for me, ladies and gentlemen. That is enough for me. I don't need to be Japanese, or I don't need to live in Japan to suspect or to have my own. I mean, this is bad, ladies and gentlemen. This is bad. This is very, very bad what's going on. And I pray to God, the next card in Japan. What do we have? What do we have in Japan? We have Naoya Inoue versus Ahmad Ali. And there's an entire undercard. Let's just hope and pray that on that night, on September 14, nobody gets hurt, because from what's happening, we can't seem to get through a card or get by a card without someone passing away or ending up in the hospital in a coma. This is all I have to say for now, but I am worried. I am worried for every single fighter who fights in Japan, whether they're Japanese or not. I am worried for all of them. I am worried. Even on the Angelo Leo card that happened a few weeks ago, someone also went into a coma, suffered brain bleed. So you're literally, I'm not exaggerating, ladies and gentlemen. I am talking about on every single card nearly. On every single card. And Japan, they love their boxing. Nearly every single month or 2 weeks, we have a boxing event there. And now we gotta start asking more questions. Now, if you actually watch the Olympics and you watch the wrestling scene, one nation just came out of the blue and has been absolutely dominating. Japan. So do we have to start asking questions now? Do we have to start asking questions from every Japanese athlete? Naoya Inoue is one of my favorite fighters. The man is without a doubt one of the greatest fighters we have ever seen in recent memory. I hate to say this, but do we have to start now? Do we have to start speculating? Do we have to start asking questions? Do I believe that Inoue is cheating? I don't believe so. Because the man is tested by VADA. And that is the only thing that we can say about Nakatani and Inoue. They're both getting tested by VADA. But every single other Japanese athlete, they're not getting tested by VADA. And if they are, it is going to be 1 or 2 fights out of their entire career. But Inoue and Nakatani are being tested by VADA on every single fight of theirs. But this is bad, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm scared. I'm scared for everyone who goes to Japan and fights there. I'm genuinely scared and terrified that either a Japanese fighter might pass away or a foreigner might pass. This is bad. This is bad.